Pedersen and Kluzak have been heralded as no Bruin rookie since Bobby Orr. So the result was distressing, even if it was only the opener.
It's only natural to be nervous, especially when there's that many people there. I don't know if it made me any more nervous or not. I was bound to be nervous. It might be my first NHL game playing Montreal. I was nervous when I was thinking about this in July.
The kids' attack of nerves was thoroughly understandable. Less so were the jitters that afflicted the rest of the team. The start was promising. Only a minute deep, Norman Leverrier jarred Guy Lafleur loose from the puck, resulting in a goal by Keith Crowder. Whereupon Montreal went to work.
Now Palmer trying to move away. Fired it up, not out. Picard in a screen to Walter, and he tips it home. Heavy hitting in front. Milbury and Wickenheiser. Lafleur keeps it in. Lafleur to Wickenheiser, scores! Monty breaks. Checked by Milbury, clears in. Peters trying to get it, lost it, and a shot to score by Cromley.
So it's immediately clear that reports about the demise of the Canadiens are premature. Apparently, all those strange moves didn't quite ruin them.
If they choose to write us off and put us far down in the standings, far be it from us to argue. I mean, it's sort of a I don't know, maybe a bit of a relief not having to go in with the pressure on your shoulders that you're going to win it all.
I don't know what they did to Lafleur. They must have given him a hell of a raise because the guy is flying again, and Robinson is playing well. We're not discounting them at all. We knew it was going to be tough, and it's true, it would have been nice, but it's also true that it was only the first game of the year.
We definitely were a little nervous. I think all of us were. I know I was trouble sleeping this afternoon before the game. Usually I can sleep no problem, and tonight I was a little anxious. I had a couple of chances in front of the net the first period, which usually I take my time and pick my spots, and tonight I just put my head down, let it go, and those are the first game jitters, and hopefully they're over with already.
Indeed it was, only the opener. But a fine opportunity was missed here. Putting the Montreal jinx behind them would have been a grand way to open. This is Clark Booth reporting.
Today, the Bruins sent Stan Jonathan to Baltimore. Well, we've shown you players. Lewis. More than 200,000 Cardinal fans toasted the world champions at a midday parade. That followed a long night of beer guzzling and horn honking through the streets of St. Louis. There was a somewhat smaller but still impressive parade in Milwaukee where some 10,000 showed up to say thanks anyway to the Brewers. An hour-long rally followed at County Stadium. Sports Center 5's Clark Booth and Bob Ryan were in St. Louis for last night's 7th game. Here's their report.
Like a tin-horn dictator from a banana republic, Gussie Busch, the beer tycoon who owns the Cardinals, made a grand entrance with his Clydesdales. But apart from Busch, you should begrudge the Cards nothing. In the end, they were tough. It was a rousing finish, and its trend was set right here. Joaquin Andujar was perfect through 3, but was headed for trouble in the 4th when jogging George Hendrick cut down Robin Yount with a great throw.
George gave me a good throw, and Robin's an aggressive base runner. In that situation, 1 out, he's going to try to get to third base. And I got the good hop, and I tried to block the bag the best I could, and I caught the ball and just tagged him at the same time.
Thus roused, the Cards took the lead in the bottom of the 4th. It was a cheap, phony turf bingo by Lonnie Smith that delivered the run. It was the likes of that ultimately wore Pete Vukovich down. Milwaukee counted in the 5th with a home run by Ben Ogilvie to tie it. Then in the 6th, the wheels began churning in their behalf. With Jim Gantner on second, Paul Molitor bunted.
Good-looking bunt. Andujar. He's safe. The rough ball gets away.
Cecil Cooper made it 3-1 with a sacrifice fly. But just as the smart money was saying Andujar would fold, he toughened.
Yeah, my knee bothered me from the first inning, but I told Hokito, the pitching coach, they are never going to give up. I had to die first to give up, and that means I'm still alive, and I'm not going to give up.
It was decided in the bottom of the 6th. Ozzie Smith singled, and Lonnie Smith doubled. The 9th and 10th Cardinal hits off Vukovich, so Harvey Keene reluctantly pulled him.
Well, you know, I never like to take Peter out of a ball game, but yet with the left-handers coming up, I thought that it was the right time.
It was the fatal step, and obviously rattled Bob McClure would need 23 pitches to retire 1 batter. Keene never budged as McClure walked Gene Tennis and then fell behind Keith Hernandez.
Hit to right center. Base hit. The game is tied. Lined into right field. Ramsey scores. It's 4-3 St. Louis.
So it bore toward the wire. In the 7th, police marched to their battle positions with their pets. Later in the inning, there was an amusing digression. The volatile Andujar had a lusty exchange of compliments with the Brewers' Gantner. It would be the Brewers' last belligerent belch of the season.
I respect him as a pitcher. I think he's a heck of a good pitcher, and if that's what keeps him psyched up, doing all that commotion, acting like,
Yeah, but if somebody calls him a hot dog, he should be able to take it.
Appropriately, Bruce Sutter finished it by overwhelming 6 Brewers in a row. There followed a long night of reveling and the usual exhaustive inquiries. Bob Ryan has more on that.
This is Bob Ryan reporting. There have been far more raucous championship celebrations. Of course, the athletes sprayed the bubbly stuff around as custom demands. But the happiest man in uniform appeared to be 66-year-old pitching coach Hub Kittle, a veteran of many minor league campaigns. That's entirely appropriate. What with all the talk of speed and the effect of the turf, the series turned on pure pitching. Who would have thought that Milwaukee would lose all 4 games started by Pete Vukovich and Don Sutton?
Perhaps the bulk of the responsibility for our not doing better should be mine.
Do you think that, do you really believe that? Now, seriously?
Yes, I seriously believe that because in Game 2, I had a lead and I didn't hold it. In Game 6, I let it get out of hand. So I think had I done my job a little bit better, we might have a different atmosphere in here. And with all that has been given to me in the last 7 weeks, I wish I could have repaid it 1 more week.
When starters fail, relievers take over. The key figure of the 1982 series might well have been someone who never entered a game.
I've always been very careful, and Harry Dalton is especially good at this, not using excuses. But the truth of the matter is, they had Suter tonight, and we didn't have Raleigh. For whatever that would have meant, nobody will really ever know.
The game did evolve into a showcase for the great Cardinals reliever.
You know, it's the best day of my life. You know, it hasn't really hit me yet. You know, I've been here besieged by questions and been talking. You know, I haven't really had a chance to sit down with my friends on the team and sit down and drink a beer and talk about it.
Raleigh Fingers remained touchingly loyal to his teammates, although some might question his powers of logic.
Well, I would have liked to have been in there, and I would have probably thought about it a lot more had we blown a lead. But Bob McClure got out of a couple of tough jams in Milwaukee. He pitched good the whole series, and you know, I doubt very much if I could have done a better job. And I really don't think my presence on the field would have made that much of a difference.
Injuries are a part of baseball. So is luck. And now so is artificial turf. The Cardinals reign over the baseball world, and all the lamentations about sunshine and God's green grass and why you can't get a good 5-cent cigar anymore can't change that fact.
An interesting World Series, not a great one, but an exciting one. What'd you say, Bob?
Well, Clark, I'd say we have to crown Whitey Herzog as the carpet king of baseball. He learned his trade in Kansas City, and when he got here, he adapted to the reality of this situation by reshaping the Cardinals in 2 years into a world championship team, speed and defense. But when it came down to the 7th game of Baseball Showcase, it was a pitching story. Baseball as we've always known it. Joaquin Andujar was the hottest pitcher in the National League down the stretch, turns it over to Bruce Sutter for 6 up, 6 down. And that proved the veracity of Berra's Law, which is, if you ain't got a bullpen, you ain't got nothing.
And if the Brewers had Raleigh Fingers in their bullpen, that would have been the difference, no matter what Raleigh Fingers says about that. Whatever. From a jubilant city of St. Louis, this is Clark Booth reporting along with Bob Ryan from the World Series.
Bruins are in Edmonton tonight, and the Celtics are in San Antonio. Bill Musselman has resigned as coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, been replaced by Tom Nisulke in a move that may help settle